they've only gone and done it again. Liverpool FC have only gone and done it again and gotten the best kind of revenge that we can get on a lesser than opponent. And that's just doing it in a calm, professional manager. A professional revenge is what I would call this. So after what seemed like, and I don't want to exaggerate here, but about 18 months of not having Premier League football, God, it was just good to see our lads running around the pitch again. For whatever reason, my happiness now directly involves that group of men running around the pitch trying to win a football match. It felt like it had been so long. Even though we played shite in the first half, I was still like, this is great, isn't it? They're back. They're back. Not playing very well, but... So I'm going to talk a bit about the match, the goal, the players that stood out, and what it means for the rest of the season. Do you know, in a way it was good to get that little break. I mean, in many ways it wasn't good at all. In a way it was good that we could kind of... It was a bit of a palate cleanser to wipe that sour taste out of our mouth from the month that had gone before. But it was great to have people go back to their respective countries, just have a bit of a reset, and then come back fresh. You know, because it can be very easy to forget when you're in the midst of losing big matches how mental this season has been and continues to be. But anyway, I want to talk about some of the key talking points of this match. So the team sheet comes out. I'm trying to do the usual, like, okay, he's here. Okay, yeah, okay, that's here. And I see Curtis Jones there. I'm like, because you know the way when you get the team sheet, it's all just in order of numbers, because everybody wants that. So you're kind of like, okay, positionally, he's here. Okay, he's always here. And I'm like, Jones, Gravenberch, McAllister, Soboslai. I'm like, where's our right back? Turned out Curtis Jones was our right back. Classic Big Arne mind games. Sorry, this slot, no pun intended, is only for the most popular Scouser in our team. Also, the better Scouser is injured, but I kid. But Curtis Jones, what a phenomenal game he had at right back. And I'd be happy to see him there, to be honest, for the remainder of the season, if he keeps playing like that. Because he's tidy, he's aggressive, he is... you know, defended well, seemed to not shy away from the defending side. So the first half was a bit like, kind of went, like before the game I was a bit nervous about it because I'm like, Everton are pretty decent now and we are not in form. So the first half kind of went as I expected, but you're a little bit like, like, I think we'll score, but, So the biggest talking point of the first half was that Tarkowski tackle on McAllister. I mean, technically it wasn't a tackle. The Tarkowski follow through. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, he absolutely smashes him. You can see even in the still shot, Tarkowski's so blurred because he's coming in with such force. Like, he knows what it is. It's a derby clearance. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's getting some on the end as well. If it was consistent, I'd be like, okay, well that's just what it is. But it's not just what it is, because that's what it is this week with this ref. But Curtis Jones against Spurs is a red, where he's just essentially stepping on the ball and gets a bit of the player. No running in at 100 miles an hour, but that's a red because of that ref on that day. You know, so that's the frustration, is that like, this ref on this day decides, no, that's fine. Jesus Christ. I've seen Tarkowski apologise at the end, at least. But, Jesus. So I wasn't happy with that. And I don't like to go off on refs and stuff like that. I didn't think, there was a few questionable decisions, but we'll get to them in good time. Do you know, I never realised this about Everton, but they're actually a bunch of big lugs, aren't they? Like, not mugs. Well, they are mugs as well, some of them. Pickford and co. But the defence and the team, they're just a bunch of big lugs. Big trees. Classic Moisey team. So anyway, the first half comes to an end. We weren't very good in the first half. Second half, much better. And you know what? Let's just talk about the goal, because here's the problem with the goal. As great as it was, I couldn't celebrate it properly because I assumed it was offside. I figured it shouldn't be offside, but I was like, they're going to call that back for offside. But I hate the fact that that's the game now, where something mental can happen and you're still a bit like, But let's break this goal down in all its glory. So the pass comes in. Diaz, that son of a bitch, knows that he's offside and does absolutely nothing. But the way, if we can break it down, if we can break this goal down on the patented fucking yes scale. So you've got the smarts of Diaz to just know, I'm offside, I'm not going to do a thing, I'm not even here. He ghosts Tarkowski, you might say. Tarkowski's like, oh, ghost! Slides and gives a bad clearance. It comes back to Diaz, who's now onside, and gives just a delightful flick to Jota. And Jota beats like what, 3 players? Where he's like, go on, and puts it to the wrong side of Pickford. And I mean, that is the definition of mugging someone off, what he did to Pickford. And you know what, I'll admit, at the start I was like, wow, Jota's starting again. Like, what's he doing to warrant this? That's what he does, you know. The reason he's in the team, you know, his general play is fine, but this is what Jota does, is that we literally only had a couple of chances in this game, and Jota had the best one and absolutely was emphatic about it. So that's why he's there, just doing what he's there to do. And it's extra sweet almost that it's a 1-0 victory. It just raises the importance of him and the goal. Fucking yes scale, Cop End, Merseyside derby, pushing for the title. Jota's back, beats about 3 players, unbelievable goal. Fucking yes scale. That's a solid 9. So hopefully this gets him back on form before his next injury. I know. But he usually just needs 1 goal just to break the dam, and then he just gets back into that rhythm again. So yeah, really happy with him. And if you missed it, fear not, because I have it for you here in crude drawing form, and you'll probably find that that's exactly how it happened. Yo goal. I would like to take this opportunity at this juncture, hat in hand, to ask if you haven't subscribed. About a quarter of you aren't subscribed, which is still a pretty good ratio actually. But if you haven't, if you could hit that button wherever it is, that'd be really appreciated. If you want some merch, check out the link in the description below. Thanks for everyone who's bought merch so far, much appreciated. And okay, yeah, back to the video. I tell you who else is playing class as well. Andy Robertson. You know, the thing with Andy Robertson for me, like he had a great game and, you know, did really well. His shooting aside, you know, when the ball dropped to him and he did this 360 spin, and I've already got my neck cranked. Oh, there it is. He should. I'd never tell a player never shoot, but he'd be close. But like I love Andy Robertson, but like I mean I love Andy Robertson, but it's one of them where it's like the ball's dropping. It's like Robertson, because the thing I admire about Robertson the most is like I get the impression. Because, you know, there's been a lot of criticism of Robertson this year and how, like, oh, he's past it, or, you know, whatever the extremists are saying. I kind of get the impression that, like, he knows that his skills are on the decline, or his playing ability is on the decline. Like, how many times have you seen it this season where, like, you know, he'll give the ball away or he'll make a mistake, and he's got that head down, like, to try and recover that run back where he's like, shit. You know, like, I feel like he knows what the deal is, and I think if you were to ask him in a few years' time, he'd be like, it's like, yeah, no, I knew. Sorry, I'm not going to try and do the accent. Jesus Christ. But you know, in like 10 years' time when he's looking back on his career, he'd be like, yeah, I knew then. Like, he knows he's on the decline, but he'll always back himself. And I feel like he's given it extra now to try and make up for that. You know what I mean? He's still trying to do as best he can for the team. And that's probably doing him a real disservice, because he was one of our best players yesterday. He's not just hanging on. Like, he's still, by his standards, okay, maybe if he's not an 8 every game like he was in his peak, he's maybe a 7 every game, give or take. But I feel like he's just given it everything now. He's given, you know, that's what endears him to the fans, is just, and me, and everyone, where you just see, oh, he's really giving it everything here, and he's, you know, shouting, and he's doing this, and he's, you know, putting in unbelievable crosses as well. Now in a game, it's not like, okay, he'll make very few mistakes and he'll be solid. Now it's kind of like he'll make one or two mistakes, but he'll give you about 3 or 4 great opportunities or great chances or great bits of play or whatever. So anyway, I love Andy Robertson. I also like the fact that this is a win without the help of Mohamed Salah. Salah himself has kind of had a bit of a dip by his insane standards. Like, still his general play is good, just hasn't been getting in as much with the goals and the assists. So it was just nice to see someone else being like, oh, yeah, I can win the game for us. Sure. And you know what? I hate to go off on the ref again, but there was a few more questionable decisions for me. One was, why the fuck was Núñez booked for Pickford kicking him? Like Van Dijk style, the one that took him out for a year. Like, what? I've seen it suggested on commentary that it was for rolling back on the pitch. Now, you're not, again, the inconsistency. You're not going to tell me that now all of a sudden, on this day, that's a yellow card. And all the hundreds of players that have done it for the last few seasons, it's nothing. It's like, oh, come on, you. Oh my God. I was so furious with that yellow. Not even the fact that he'd just been hacked to bits. Like, I know the play had stopped for an earlier foul, and they should have played it on, possibly. But what's he getting booked for, like? And then Everton bring Pickford up in the 94th minute, and we get fouled, and we're on the break, and they have no keeper, and the ref calls it back for a free kick to us. Sorry, we'll take the actual advantage. Thanks very much. Anyway, I don't want to get into a negative thing here because it's a very positive result, but some questionable refereeing. And I'd love to hear if they handpick that VAR audio clip for the Tarkowski tackle, which they won't, but how do they justify that? I would also be very remiss if I didn't talk about Luis Diaz, who just gave it everything, was probably our best player in that match. His work rate was just non-stop, just constantly active, constantly running, constantly trying to get in, create chances. I seen the stat at the end when he was coming off as a sub. Everyone else in the match had 1 chance created. Diaz, 6 chances created. And I think he played great. And especially now that, previously I would have said Big Gak all day because he was on such form. But he really looks like he's still getting back to his best. Even though he scored for Netherlands during the international break. But the biggest thing for me about this match was just the result. Just get that result. A nice slot special as well. A clean sheet for Big Queeve. Performance stuff is first half of the season worries. But now that we're in this position, it's all about the result. And so to just get that 1-0 result, put us back 12 points clear with 8 games to go. And let's not let any of the negativity of the last few matches get in the way of the fact that this is a mental season. It was interesting, just a word on Trent. Interesting to see him in the stands. Looked happy. Everyone's reading into all the stuff with Trent about like Mo Salah's Instagram story where he just literally they're in someone's house and it's like he puts the camera, Szoboszlai and Ibu and Trent, like a second and a half with no audio, and everyone's like, what does it mean? What does this mean? Like, he's just messing around. Salah's just been like, this will spark some interest. There was nothing there. And then like, oh, look at the silence when Trent came in at the AXA training ground in midweek. It's like, I think there's a bit, like, the players aren't been like with him. Like, they've known the story was always going to drop at some point in the season. And it makes sense that it dropped when there's an international break. But we knew it was coming, the whole Trent to Madrid thing. If you want my take on the Trent to Madrid thing, I made a video previously. Check it out. And to be honest, even since that video, I've already updated my thinking a little bit. You know what I mean? Where I'm kind of a bit more at peace with it. But, don't want to go for free. But you can't. I don't have the capacity to hold a grudge for this long. It's too, It'll be interesting to see if he actually plays before the end of the season, or if it'll be one of those like he's injured and looks like that injury is going to see him out for the rest of the season. And I hope people are just a little bit level-headed if he does play and they don't boo him or some shit like that. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry this video feels weird doing it in a different spot than usual. That shouldn't affect me. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. 1 down, 8 games to go. We're doing it, lads. Up the fucking Reds, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.